Another club that's gone through a little bit of turmoil this year is Chelsea, but you do, David, appear to be really coming out the other end. If it wasn't for a silly moment from Reece James last night, it would have been another good performance, another comfortable win. It really would have been.
Yeah, no, as I said, just give it time. That's all it needed. Like, it's a whole brand new squad of 25 players. Like, the team who won the Champions League 3 years ago, 2 of them are still here, and they're both injury prone as hell. So, of course, there was going to be some like teething issues with it, but it doesn't shock me. As I was telling everyone when it was, we were sat in 11th. It's like, we're not a bad football team. The numbers say we're not a bad football team. It will come good eventually. You just got to leave it and give it time. You've signed a group of 21, 22-year-olds, and by definition, they're going to be inconsistent. But when they hit their consistency, things will get better and better. And now we're in a position where we could finish 5th in the league. So, yeah, it doesn't shock me. I would love to be like I was wrong. No, do you know what? I wouldn't love to be like I was wrong because I am smarter than other Chelsea fans. And I'll say that proudly.
Say it with chest.
My track record on Chelsea compared to most other Chelsea fans on this channel is far better because I told all of them Lukaku is bad. I said Mount was bad. I said Havertz isn't the devil that you all think he is. And I said give Poch time and he'll grow. And suddenly, do you know what? Poch out.
Thomas Tuchel.
Thomas. I was right about Thomas Tuchel. When we hired him, everyone said he was going to be bad, and I was like, "Nah, this guy's good." And then we sacked him, and everyone's crying about it. My track record's pretty good. So maybe the next time I say something you disagree with, listen to what I'm saying, because I'm just looking at things from a different perspective. I don't have Twitter, so I don't see Chelsea X25 with Malo Gusto's face on the bio. I ain't seen them guys. I think by myself. So
there is something to be said for a football fan who doesn't really consume social media rather than being live on our shows and the opinions you hold versus, because I would love to see, we've done it in the studio a few times where like everyone stay off Twitter and then we give our opinions on the match reaction and let's see how different it is to what everybody else is saying when you haven't had the chance to be influenced by others' opinions. I do think that holds some water.
Yeah, no, because I don't get, when things get bad at Chelsea, I get annoyed, but I don't see another 12,000 Chelsea fans tweeting Poch out at the same time to influence what I'm thinking. It's all my own thoughts. The only time I've had a problem with Poch was when we lost 5-0 to Arsenal, and I was there like, why do you keep changing the squad? And then the game after, he said, this is the 11, and then he played it again and again and again, and we won 4 in a row. So, again, people act like our football club, the people who run the club, the coaches, the people just act like everyone who's at Chelsea is stupid. And I've said the amount of analysis done on my club this season has just been flat out lazy because there are people going, oh yeah, all they did was go on YouTube and sign players that have good highlights. If you really think that's what Chelsea are doing, you shouldn't be paid to talk about football because you have to look deeper into what's going on. Is that simple? Chelsea have gone, we aren't going to be good enough currently to challenge the Man Cities, the Liverpools, the Arsenals. So we're going to go young and we're going to build up the young squad. And what I think is going to happen, even though people may disagree with it, so I think they're going to keep signing young players because the young group they brought in this year, in 4 years, will be the experienced group. And then because you don't have to keep signing loads of young players, the 1 or 2 you add in every year will have the experience above them to get better. That's what I think the plan is. So I hope that they stick to the plan and don't listen to football fans. Because football fans, the average football fan who doesn't watch the Terrace isn't the brightest person. So yeah.
So you're basically saying every Chelsea fan is a basically dumb sheep.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that fans are incredibly influenced by what they read online and what other rivals think about their club. So when you've got Liverpool, Arsenal, City fans and Spurs fans being like, Chelsea are the worst group in the world, like what you're all doing makes no sense, your transfers don't add up and blah blah blah, you've got no plan. You're going to get two fans which are like, I fully agree, I'm going to hate my club completely, or you get fans who are going to completely fight back and say Enzo Fernandez is the best player in the world. That tends to be what happens. There's never like it's a weird way of saying it, but the world needs balance. So if everyone's going at you saying your team's the absolute worst, and then you've got some fans saying your team's the absolute worst, you're going to have a small sect of Chelsea fans that are going to be like, no, our team is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Enzo Fernandez is world class. Caicedo is world class. Madueke is world class. You're going to get all of these. It's going to happen. It's gonna no, but it's good. Don, I'm not saying Don, but I'm saying
but David, you're right. But this happens in life. David, this happens. This has happened through the history of modern day history. This happens politically. As soon as you get, it doesn't matter who it is, whoever is the sort of the dominant culture that runs the arts, runs TV, runs policies, is in the government. You get a counterculture that's normally the complete opposite to it, and this has happened many times in my lifetime already, and it happens within football now because we're seeing it play out online. And you're right, some will go, I'm going to go with the rivals and absolutely trash my club. Others go the opposite end where they defend too much. But I do think often the right answer is in the middle. But people, it seems to not be popular on social media to be in the middle. It's either you've got to be in one of the polarized groups.
You can criticize Todd Bowley and say, you signed too many young players and you've put us into a bit of a financial hole where you're having to sell hotels and so on and so forth. Whatever your opinion is on that, right? You can sit there and be like, that's not the brightest thing to do. But to sit there and say Todd Bowley didn't have a plan in the first place, I don't think is correct. Well, okay, let me put it like this. Obviously, the Koulibaly, Sterling, that window, that was just, I want to sign big names, and I get it. You can have a go. That window, I fully agree, you can have a go at. But when he brought in Stewart and Winstanley, it was very clear what the club was trying to do. It was, we are going to try and find all the best young players we can. We're going to bring them into Chelsea, and we're either going to play them or we're going to send them on loan to Strasbourg or wherever they're going to go. And in 2 or 3 years, we will have a very good football team. That's the plan. Again, I don't want to boil it down to, oh, he's American, so this is what the Americans do. But it is quite an American style model where teams will tank, lose a lot, and they'll get like the best draft picks, and they'll be able to get the best young players, and then build their team up in that way. That is an American thing to do. NBA. And I don't think it's the worst. I don't think it's the worst plan in the Premier League's current state, because as Arsenal have shown, you can have a really good squad right now, and you can play the best football you have in about 4 or 5 years, and you still might lose to a City team that has a Haaland who's out of form, a Kevin De Bruyne who's played 33% of the games, an Edison who's a midfielder in goal. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't challenge them, but what I'm saying is, if you're a betting man, your best bet is to bet for the time after the superpowers that currently are leave, because we're so far behind. To catch up to that gap in 1 summer or 2 summers is very unlikely. So
there is an element of truth to that. And I was reading a piece today from a study about what success is. And the premise of this study that was done over a 5-year period was, is second place failure or a stepping stone to success? And it was such an interesting read, because there isn't, again, the part of the conclusion essentially says that it all depends upon your outlook of life. But what was really interesting is that when they interviewed and they questionnared multiple people, highly successful people, and then individuals that could have been successful but didn't quite make it. And you find that most people that could have been really successful but didn't quite get to the top. So not bums, but people that could have gone to the Olympics but didn't quite get there. People that could have played in the NFL but didn't quite get there. Or people that got drafted and they kind of faded away. Those people typically saw second place as being a loser, and it makes you a bad person. Where the people that were quite successful saw second place as motivation to keep getting better. I'm happy with that, but I now want more. And they viewed it from a positive outlook. And sort of my takeaway from reading this really in-depth sort of piece was that winners don't think second place and don't think the journey towards winning is a bad thing. But yet the people that didn't quite make it in life to the heights they could have been see it as failure. And there's something in that for me personally. Doesn't make it right in every single case because the world isn't that black and white. But I look at Chelsea and I think, Todd Bowley and co have made some really big mistakes. I think Poch this season has made some really big mistakes, playing too many people out of position to begin with. I think he was never giving certain players enough run of time running in the team. But what he has gone and done is turned it round. He has absolutely in the last 2 to 3 months turned it round. I've got a sneaky feeling they're going to end up 5th ahead of Tottenham. I just think the Spurs have checked out, especially after the other game. Spurs might lose to Sheffield United. I just got this gut feeling. Just looking at the way Ches and Donovan in the group chat, they're buzzing right now, and I feel like this is going to be another day to add to that.
If Chelsea finish fifth, everyone, I want apologies written to my club.
No.
I want apologies. I don't care. All of you called my club
David,
a bunch of lunatics.
David,
we would be one spot by Champions League.
The people you should request an apology from are your fans.
Yes.
Oh, don't worry. That's been commissioned
Don't expect it from any one of us.
That's
Your
already
fans.
commissioned.
No.
I thought all of them when they were sat here trying to gaslight me into saying that Poch is coaching losses. I said, what are you watching? Nicholas Jackson just needs to square the ball.
David, can I say something? Can I say this, David? Poch, like Terry, what you said, Poch did make a lot of mistakes this season, but we have to also look at some. I mean, injury is not an excuse. Every team has injuries, but Chelsea had averagely 15 injuries at a given point in the season. 15. Like, you have to then realize that the manager may not be able to play what he wants to play because the capacity of the players he has to use in those positions, he has to play them out of place.
Dyer, then give Ten Hag that. No.
I'm giving Ten Hag the same. That's what I'm saying. Like, I give this. Like, Terry knows when I speak about things like this. I the same thing with Ten Hag. If Ten Hag had all his players right, and Manchester United are playing terrible football, then I will blame Ten Hag fully and be like, listen, dude, you had everybody fit. You had all your first 11. You had the players that you needed. Everybody was kicking and ready to run, but you were playing them out of place and you messed it up. Because you have a lot of injuries, I understood why Poch was not really like firing on all cylinders, right? And that's why whenever I spoke about Chelsea, I always said something, even though I like to, banter you get, I always said, you don't know what Chelsea to expect. They're not consistent. Consistency was the big thing that was missing with Chelsea. And this was because of a lot of factors. One of the major factors, you have a bunch of young players who are inexperienced in the Premiership. And guess what? To blend them together and for them to have that experience is going to take time. So that will make them inconsistent. You have a coach who now has to blend this whole bunch of kids. And out of these kids, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 of them are injured. Boom. Now I have to work with what I have, inconsistencies. But the minute there was a consistent set of players, you saw how he began to tweak. In-game, tweak, and all of a sudden they look like they're going to be very dangerous. So, I think that
can I just get a Kate on this? Obviously, you know Poch very well as a Spurs supporter. Are you? I assume you're not surprised to see the turnaround now that he's found his settled team.
No, not at all. I mean, I get what David's saying, but I was here saying that I think he needs time. I did doubt him at the beginning. He did make a lot of mistakes, but I sit here and watch Poch and I think he's going to bring success to Chelsea. I asked a question on my channel a couple of weeks ago. If we could swap Ange now and get Poch back, what would we do? And it was very 50-50. I'd take Poch over Ange in a heartbeat. I love the way he plays football. And I think he's got so much to prove. And I think they will back him at Chelsea, which is something that our chairman didn't do, and it's going to hurt me because I think he will be successful at Chelsea. I think they've got to be patient. At the end of the day, Chelsea fans are used to having Abramovich there, just buying this and buying that and winning everything. But you are at the start of a project, but you can already see the last few games I've watched Chelsea, I think they look so much better, so dangerous. And it wouldn't surprise me if they pip us to 5th. I don't think they will. I do think we'll beat Sheffield United. If we don't, oh my God, I can't even cope. But yeah, I think you just got to stick with this guy. He gets so much hate, and yeah, I appreciate people think he's a bottler and he's a serial loser, but I really rate him. Like I say, I would have loved to have had him. He was my number one choice to have back at the lane at the start of the season.
There will come a point where Poch's sell-by date will come along, and that's when you'll probably think to yourselves, oh, we might go for someone that's a little bit proven in terms of winning. I think when it comes to building players up, I mean, Poch has enough experience with that. As in, like, you look, people forget, people talk about Tottenham. What he did at Southampton as well, 2013-14, people forget about that because that team was playing such silky football, such really good young players coming through. And they actually set the foundation of what Southampton were going to do during the mid-2010s. So I think for now, I think Chelsea fans should be happy. And I want to touch upon what Terry said and what he said about people having a go at this ownership. I will say a lot of those people that are having a go at these ownerships are the same people that are wanting Abramovich back and are so used to having their team spend £200 million every single transfer window, out buying everybody and buying whoever that Abramovich wanted. And look, it's great, but at the time when Abramovich left, you hadn't won a league title for about 7 years. And there was no way you were going to be on that level at that time, at the same level as a Liverpool City. That's just how it was. And look, Bowley's made mistakes, but at least there's something you can build upon. I still don't agree with the fact that, you're going to still buy young players. I still think you guys need experience in your team. I've always said that. You can't win anything with kids. That's what I've believed in. So it's just what you're going to see what Poch is going to do with this team.